because it's self-sabotaging what you intend to do, but it's your brain trying to keep you safe. I'm like, I know we're all right if we just keep doing this.
Yeah.
And actually, sometimes we're not all right. Sometimes we're not great at all. We're going around in this circle with negative thoughts and not achieving the things that we're capable of, because our mind's like, but at least it's better the devil, you know. Like, it's like if grandma can go up and make her own cup of tea, let her.
Exactly.
So if you're wondering whether you're doing having self-sabotage in your current goal or habit that you're trying to you might be struggling to set it, for example. So I could probably have a think about this later with my morning routine. Is that's how our brain is designed for to keep us safe. And so whenever you're doing something that's slightly different, or you're going to get thoughts that are going to try and keep you in your cave or in your cage or wherever, what is familiar. Your mind wants to keep you in the familiar because it knows what to expect. And when we don't know what to expect because we're stepping outside that comfort zone, then that's when you get bombarded with this self-sabotage. And it's because it's self-sabotaging what you intend to do, but it's your brain trying to keep you safe. I'm like, I know we're all right if we just keep doing this.
Yeah.
And actually, sometimes we're not all right. Sometimes we're not great at all. We're going around in this circle with negative thoughts and not achieving the things that we're capable of, because our mind's like, but at least it's better the devil, you know. And I remember even saying that as a, like when I've not made choices to change things in my life that were causing me stress or upset, is because I was like, but I know what I've got here and I know how it works and I know what to expect, and it may not feel great, but I don't know what's out there. And that's like, it's back to the primitive mind, isn't it? Because I know what's in my cave. I might be hungry, but there might be a tiger out there. So it's combating that primitive programming of our brain that wants to keep us in the place it knows we're safe, in our comfort place. But you can comfort yourself into an early grave, like quite literally, physically. If you, like, it's like if grandma can go up and make her own cup of tea, let her.
Exactly.
Because actually, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Exactly.
They
did a documentary on that years ago. They took elderly people out of the old folks' home and got them to fend for themselves.
Yeah.
And initially they weren't able to because they were seized up. But after a while they started to loosen up and they started to feel younger. And that's the thing, when people get older, we mollycoddle them. It's like, don't do that, don't hurt yourself. It's like, let them be as young as possible, let them do the thing for as long as possible, because we're as young as we feel. And if we stop, as you said, stop using ourselves, and it's the same with our brain. If you stop feeding your brain with information, you will effectively go stupid. I was in a toxic relationship in my 20s. And because I became so codependent on him and he was controlling me, I lost control of my brain. And I was effectively stupid for most of my 20s and forgot how to do the simplest of things. It can happen. So it is really important to be aware of that as well. Yeah. And not let yourself get stuck in that kind of box.
Yeah, absolutely. So shifting your perspective and your identity can reduce self-sabotage. So it's looking deeper, logging your excuses, noticing what triggers you to procrastinate and making a choice in that moment. Like, how am I going to make a choice in that moment not to do that? So phones are terrible for procrastination. And I use my phone a lot. It's my alarm clock. I'm on Instagram quite a lot. I use it to journal now. I've got a little journaling app. I use it, habit share. So I'm on it a lot.
But that's good. It's okay. We have this thing, we shouldn't be on our phones. You should be on your phone if you're using it for the right thing. Yeah. It's a world of encyclopedia. It's a world of knowledge.
It's a computer. Open the app. you know? Or
Yeah.
if you do
Don't
go
be
to meet,
scrolling mindlessly and numbing your brain by doing nothing with your phone. Use it to learn. Use it to heal yourself. Use it for meditation. Like, I've healed myself and I've trained through my phone and my computer because I'm using it the right way. And that's what we do. We use it for work. But if you're, there's a wrong way to use your phone.
yeah.
And that's what you do.
So it's
Like,
being aware
yeah.
and being honest with yourself. Because I think that's the other thing, like doom scrolling. And, you know, I can spend hours like myself, you know, I can fall down that hole. And you think that it's been like 5 minutes and you can actually be on there for hours. And you just think how much I could have done in an hour, you know?
I used to do it in the mornings before I even got out. I'd wake up late and I'd be on my phone for hours. My mind would be gone numb. And you feel that energy. Your energy actually drains from being on social media just mindlessly all the time. And, you know, I can't do it anymore. I'll go on my phone, I'll go through my emails, I'll have that quick, I'll have that quick scroll, I'll share a few things and then I'll put it down again. Or I'll even put it away. If I'm sitting on the couch and I'm watching something and my phone is beside me, I'll keep picking up the phone. I have to leave the phone way further than an arm's distance, just so that I'm not constantly go back and forth.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about in the habits one last week. It's about designing your environment. So like if your phone is not at arm's reach and you have to get out of your chair to get it, you're probably less likely to look at it.
Yeah, and especially when there's a dog or a cat in your lap, you're very very unlikely to run over and get your phone when you're sitting there with a dog that's you don't want to move.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So if you're wondering whether you're doing having self-sabotage in your current goal or habit that you're trying to you might be struggling to set it, for example. So I could probably have a think about this later with my morning routine, is what habits and actions got in the way. So say I'm trying to set a morning routine and I choose to check my Instagram before setting my meditation. So then I spend 10 minutes scrolling before I have my meditation. That takes 10 minutes off my morning routine. So then I can't fit in my breath work because I'm going to be late for work. It's knowing that where was the fork in the road where you didn't vote for who you want to be, and making note of that and consciously choosing not to do that next time. And the more that you do that, the more it will just become routine to do that. So I'm like, sure, at first when you started putting your phone in a different room, that it probably felt a bit weird. You probably felt like, oh, I know when I haven't got my phone near me, I'm like, oh, where's my phone? So it will feel a bit strange at first, but after quite a short amount of time, it will start to feel like normal again, won't it?
That's it, and that's it with any habit. It's just consistency, and that's it. When you get used to something, you get used to having your phone in your hand. That's going to be your habit. But when you get after a while, you get used to not having your phone in your hand, and it's lovely. I love the sense of peace I get. Like, I know I have to be on my phone for work, and for content creation, that's fair enough. But then I give myself that break. I say, look, it's the end of the day now. I'm going to put my phone over there. I'm going to relax, and that is the reward in itself, because when you actually get used to when you're so used to being on the mindless scrolling all the time, it does drain you. So when you do take that break, you actually feel good again, and you're kind of going to yourself, I don't want to be on it that long. And that's why I will pick it up, I'll do a quick scroll, and then I'll put it back down, because if I'm on it too long, I start to get depressed. I genuinely do start to feel depressed if I'm on it for too long.
Yeah.
And that's because I broke the old habit.
Yeah. So you can look at the habit, like we said, like what point does it, where was the fork in the road that changed your path that morning, or when you were about to do that, the habit or the thing that you're trying to bring into your life? The other thing is trying to unpick what belief might be behind your self-sabotage. So like we said earlier, these are symptoms. Self-sabotage is a symptom of something much deeper. So thinking about what what fears might you have that about being this person you're working towards being that is getting in the way, and having to think about that. Or it might be beliefs. So with me, I'm an untidy person. That's a belief that I have about myself. So in order for me to find it easy to be clutter free, I need to really dig deep into that belief and changing the way I speak about myself, changing the way I think about myself. And affirmations are a great way to start changing that. So when we first work, we've said this on other ones, but if people haven't watched them, when we first wake up, we are in a state in our brain, a brainwave state, that makes us able to speak directly to our subconscious. It's very impressionable for the first 15 minutes if you don't look at your phone. If you look at your phone in the bright light, it will take you out of that. So before touching a phone, sit and say affirmations that directly are opposite to whatever the belief is that's getting in your way. So I am a messy person. I would essentially lie to myself and say I am a tidy person. I clean up after myself. I am organized. And it may feel a bit strange at first, but the more you do it, the more that you will start being those things that you say in your affirmations. So if you don't meditate, then you are essentially in a meditative state when you very first wake up in the morning. So you can do them then. Or if you do meditation, then obviously it's great to do it then, because that's when we open up our subconscious to get it on board as well. Yeah. What else? And we've said this before, like if you're not, maybe if you're self-sabotaging, maybe the habit you're trying to put in is too big, you know? And maybe the way to get around it is to make it super small, you know? And like we said last week, don't be afraid to make it ridiculously small.
That's what I did. I broke my baby steps. Baby steps to me when I started my journey was just, oh, that was scary. That was overwhelming. So I broke my baby step into milli steps, and I took a tiny little step every day towards my goals. And it was still scary, but it was easier to take than even one step. So I took tiny steps, and it was slow, but it was worth it. And like within 6 months, I was transformed. Within a year, I was transformed. Within 2 years now, I'm a completely different person. And that was just from tiny little improvements every day.
Yeah, and consistency. That's the thing. That's key. And in Atomic Habits, which we've both read, and I think it's a great book if you're looking for something to read and help you, it says that if you fall off, never let it be for more than one day. It's like get straight back on it. So sometimes things happen in life, and you know, maybe my child is sick in the middle of the night and I'm not able to do my morning routine. There's no reason why I shouldn't do it the next day, because what happens is that you start to reset the habit of not doing the habit.
Yeah.
And so the sooner you can get back on it, the better.
Yeah. Like that's the thing with me. I had a tooth pulled last summer, and I was freaking out because, you know, you're not supposed to do strenuous exercise. And I was like, how am I going to do my morning routine? Because I was like, if I fall off the horse, I'm never going to get back on it. And I was freaking out. Every day I was checking to see if I could shorten. Because normally it was saying 3 or 4 days you can't do it. And I was like, that's a long time to stop my morning routine. I was like, I'm not going to be able to get back into it. So every day I was checking more research. It's like, please make it shorter. And I discovered I could do it after 2 days. I was like, thank God. And I was actually excited to get back into the routine, even though it was hard to do the exercising. I was just so scared that I'd relapse that I was like, jump back on it as soon as you possibly can. So yeah.
And that's why what I was saying earlier about, because excuses are probably one of the biggest ones that stop us. I mean, before procrastination happens, an excuse probably happens. Oh, I'll just have 5 minutes. It's okay for me to have 5 minutes on my phone. I'll only be 5 minutes. It's an excuse essentially, isn't it? Like I am going to do that thing, but I'm just going to have 5 minutes on this. So the The excuse to not start now is that you're only going to have 5 minutes. But what happens is when you let one excuse come in, lots more come in. You get really good. Your brain goes, ha! So it's excuses then. And it gets really creative with more excuses. And so the longer that you allow the excuses to come in, the more days you're off, the more your brain's got the reward it wants. It's kept you where you were. You haven't changed anything. It gets super good at coming up with imaginative rubbish excuses, like, and you're like, yeah, that's a good reason. Like, some of them are absolute, like when I used to get up and walk in the morning, like, it raining is not an excuse not to do it, but I allowed that excuse sometimes, you know, and then I had to have a strong word with myself. I was like, never again, Carol. So when you do let an excuse come in, be compassionate, but recognize that it was an excuse. That's why it's, you know, there's, in the moment, it won't feel like an excuse. It will feel like a reason. Yeah. So what you should do, if there is a reason you can't do something that you promised yourself you were going to do to set a habit, write it down for reflection the next morning is what I would advise you to do. Because what you will probably think in the morning, when it no longer affects your behavior in that moment, it will feel like a reason in the moment, because you want it to be a reason, because your brain wants you to not do that thing. So, but when you're looking at that reason at a completely different time, you will recognize it for what it was. It was an excuse. And so then you're aware of that being an excuse. So when you hear it next time in your head, you're like, no, you may have got me last time, but not this time. Exactly. I know that's an excuse. Yeah. So journaling can really help. And when we talk about journaling, we're not talking about writing, you know, pages, writing a novel. Like, it can be simple as just making a note of excuses that you've reasons that you've for not, or just evaluating how many of the things have I done that I meant to do. Even a habit tracker is a type of, you know, if you do habit tracking, you can use that as part of kind of journaling, can't you? Yeah. I said I was going to do these 5 things. Did I do them? I think habit trackers work the best if you do them as you do it, because the great thing about a habit tracker that you're doing as you do each of the little habits is it gives you the reward. So to set a habit, you need to have some kind of reward for your brain to go, oh, that felt good, let's do that again. And so a little tick on a piece of paper, I know it sounds ridiculous, but it does make you feel good.
But it does. Like, even a simple thing of a list, like, you know, going to the shop for a list and then crossing off the thing that you have on the list. It feels good. Yeah. And, like, you know, even like gold stars. I love gold stars. We should all give ourselves gold stars every time we do something good. No, that's another one. Like, yeah.
Well done, me.
Yeah. And it is. Like, it's little tiny rewards like that are great. Like, you know, just little ways to prove to yourself that you're making progress.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, is there anything else? Or should we finish with our quote?
I think that was good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. So to summarize before we get onto the quote, so if you're self-sabotaging, don't feel bad about it. We all do it. No matter where we are in our progress, we will self-sabotage, but it's about being self-aware and recognizing when it comes up. Great ways to do that is to write down your reasons for not doing the thing that you want to do, evaluating the habit that you've set yourself. Maybe it's too large. Thinking about what aspect or what belief might be stopping you being who you want to be. So what is it about being who you want to be, who you're working towards, that scares you? Noting down negative thought patterns as well, watching those and debunking them is a great one, you know. Yeah, so they're the things we would suggest. Or reach out to a coach. Coaches are great at keeping you accountable and doing both the let's take the steps now, but let's look at what's driving it underneath the surface. So if you're able to get yourself a coach, I would highly recommend it.
Yeah. So when it comes to that awareness, say, you know, like, this is the thing, when you're not sure of whether or not it's the soul or the ego talking, what fills you with joy? if it sets your soul on fire, if you're getting excited and really, really, you know, this could be something that you want to do, that's real. That feeling is real. And then that ego mind will come in and go, but, you know, so that's when you know the negativity comes into something that really sets your soul on fire. So you know it's for you if it makes you feel that good. And then that negative voice then is that false thought.
Yeah. Oh, and also, like, if you get an idea that you think is good in the moment, then do something small to action it. Even if it doesn't continue on, do something small to action it, because it might be that later on you'll be spurred on with more inspiration to carry on with that. Yeah. I found with what you know, I started the Facebook group 2 months ago, I think it was, which is when I initially got the thought, and then not done anything, and now I'm like, whoa, this is what I want to do. So but if you don't take that little step of action, what happens is you self-sabotage that idea, and then it gets discarded. Yeah. So if you do something that sets the idea, even if you're not ready to move forward with it, then it stops your brain pulling it apart and discarding it. Yeah. So I would suggest that as well. Right. So our quote, we really liked that the quote came at the end last time. Was it last time? So we're finishing with another quote. I am my greatest sorry, I've misspelt it. I was like, I might I'll tell you what it actually says. It says, I am my greatest optical. I'm like, what? That's not what it's supposed to say. Obstacle is what it's supposed to say. Let me start again. I am my greatest obstacle to my greatest dreams. And that's by somebody called Craig Lounsborough. And he's a counselor, author, and speaker. So he does speaking in personal growth, mental health, and spiritual development. And I think that really,
the only thing standing between you and your dreams is you and your fear. So, you know, once you stop fighting with yourself, you'll get to where you want to go.
Absolutely, yeah. Your mind is your limit. Yeah, so you have to get some reins on your mind.
Exactly.
Yeah, so don't let your mind fool you out of being who you're capable of being, I would say.